Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Wa jannatul halalu wa dozakhul haramu. Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning alongside my very amazing co-host, ladies and gentlemen, Shiza Hashmi and me myself, Shahzad Khan. Hello Shiza, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. What about you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too as well, and Happy New Year to everybody who's out there. Ladies and gentlemen, today actually happens to be the first day of Muharram al-Haram as well, where we actually are commencing with the first day of the new year of Islamic calendar. And we definitely hope that everybody who's out there is doing perfectly fine. But on this occasion, I actually want to share an ayah with each and every one of you, which they say is one of those ayahs which Sahaba would actually go run and would actually learn this ayah and then just say it out loud and make dua as well. So,
Beautiful.
Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma adkhilhu alayna bil amni wal imani was salamati wal islami wa jawari minash shaitani wa rizwani minar rahman. So for all of those people, Ameen Sum Ameen, who are actually tuned into their PTV World screens, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually going to translate it for you too as well. First in Urdu and then I'll try to do it in English as well. ए अल्लाह इस साल को हमारे ऊपर अमन और ईमान और सलामती और इस्लाम के साथ और शैतान से बचाओ और रहमान की रज़ामंदी के साथ दाखिल फरमा.
Ameen.
Ameen Sum Ameen. Do you want to do the honors?
You do it. Come on.
All right. So we actually ask Allah that Allah please make sure that we actually stay blessed and that you're full of, that you are Rahman and that you are Rahim, and that please make sure that we all live in safety, that we'll all live in faith, that we all live together, and may nothing worse actually touches us. So for all of those
Amen.
people who are out there, let us just say Ameen Sum Ameen
Ameen.
as well. And now let's get to what do we actually have to talk about.
Well, of course, we have to talk about something really important as always. Well, this is what PTV World does, and specifically, well, this morning does as well.
Yeah.
But Shahzad, speaking of the lunar calendar of Islam, we know that being the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, of course, we do follow, and being a proud Muslim, of course, we do follow the calendar as well. The first day of the year, you already mentioned very rightly. But we know that this month happens to be so important. Otherwise, I mean, of course, other than being the first month of the year as well. We know there are so many historic or significant historical incidents that have taken place in this month. Be it, I mean, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam being saved from the Pharaoh of Egypt, or Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam, departing on his ark as well. And then we even know that the day of Ashura resides in this particular month as well. As Muslims, we do believe that, the world was created and finished on the day of Ashura. And then, of course, we're going to be gathered again on the day of Qiyamah on Ashura as well.
Exactly.
Along with that, we also do believe and we also sort of, mourn together for whatever happened to the grand family of our last prophet, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Together we stand in remembering their sacrifices, of course, and together we stand in celebrating the religion that they saved for us.
Exactly.
So I think this is really beautiful that, alhamdulillah, we got a chance to actually begin our show on this note as well. And I'm going to mention one thing that has been narrated over and over again. Not the exact words, of course, this is going to be the mafhum, or let's say theme of it as well. Categorically, Allah Ta'ala mentioned 4 months to be His favorite among all of the 12 months. And in Quran, I think we have learned, or we do learn from different lessons that Allah did create, a year over a 12-month span.
Yes.
So 4 of them happens to be His favorite, and Muharram happens to be, second only to Ramadan in that. There are just so many barakah, or I want to say, so many blessings that Allah bestows upon His, creations in this month. And I really hope we can at least get our hands onto some of them as well.
Very beautifully explained, Shiza. And
Thank you.
wow, I always knew that you're a hard worker, but you did a great job as well. But one last thing before we move on to the topic, and ladies and gentlemen, the message which we actually come across from the entire scene which actually took place back in the days, when we speak about it, obviously we call it Karbala.
Yes.
And that is that then the Muslims were a minority, and the message which we really need to deduce out of it is that you should never actually be oppressed by anybody as well, ladies
Absolutely.
and gentlemen. You actually have to stand against whatever you think is wrong. And it
Exactly.
needs to be wrong for everybody else too as well. Take your stand, put your foot down, and be right up and fight for it. And I think that's the message which everybody needs to have within themselves as well, that if there's something wrong happening, please make sure that you raise your voice about it as well.
Absolutely.
So now coming down to what we actually need to do, ladies and gentlemen, to have this courage, I think that everybody needs to go through some good education system.
Oh, definitely.
Or probably need to have parents who are actually going to give them that confidence level, or probably have that comprehension skills that, okay, this is a problem right in front of me. how am I going to comprehend it and then come out with stronger and with a solution.
Absolutely, I do agree with you, Shazad. And if I were to ask you, you know how we always sort of generically say that teachers are the spiritual parents of the students as well, which is a true fact, but I think we just say it for the sake of saying it.
Yeah.
But to realize it, if I were to ask you one of the things or one of the lessons that stayed with you,
Yeah.
coming from one of your teachers, can you recall one of them?
Yes, I can recall. So one of my teachers, professors, ladies and gentlemen, from my university days, he was a very strict one, and we had a class of 40 or 45 students,
Okay.
and only 44 would pass, and it was only me who actually passed, or probably 1-2 more as well, because there's this one thing which he said, and what he said was that, Shazad, whatever you write in the exam, I do not want a complete, probably rephrasing of the definition written in the
Right,
book.
right.
What I want from you is that you actually should be able to convince me that whatever you're saying is right. And since then, I think that I've picked up on so many things using my own head and then making sure that, okay, how can I actually convince myself and somebody else by my writing so that the actually teacher cannot deduct any marks out of it as well.
Nice.
And since then, that's what I've been doing as well. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into conversation. Since schools will be opening soon as well, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by some amazing teachers over here who happen to be our spiritual mothers too. And we will be in conversation with them. We'll ask them, whether, this lag we had in between due to COVID, is it going to have an impact on teachers or students for that matter? Or is it going to be a very joyous ride for everybody post-COVID? Let's talk about that. So,
Right.
ladies and gentlemen, in the first place, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by a teacher trainer herself. She's none other than Miss Taira Yasmeen. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Walaikum assalam. How are you, Shazan?
Absolutely perfect, and thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you so much for calling me over here to talk about this very important topic, right?
It's our pleasure, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And alongside Miss Taira Yasmeen, ladies and gentlemen, we happen to have been joined by the Assistant Director ASCD Academics. She's none other than Miss Nosheen Irfan. Hello, assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for calling me over.
It's our
And
pleasure,
I hope
ma'am.
you all are well.
It's our pleasure, ma'am. And to get the conversation started, there's one thing which I wanted to say on a lighter note, and that is that one of my popo has been a teacher all her life, and one way or the other, she has been very strict with all of us. I don't know how she was in the school, but she's always been very strict. Oh, tum padhte nahi ho, tumhare number nahi aate hain. So are you like that even when you guys are at home?
Not exactly, but yes, we are very much particular about education, mannerism.
And your own kids scoring good grades?
Uh, yes, to some extent I can say, but I never ask them for good grades. Being a teacher, I always wanted my children and my other siblings' children that they should be good human being, and they learn whatever they are going to learn, that exactly they mean it. So it's not about the content memorization and
Right.
getting the good grades, but they should know that what they are learning.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Wonderful.
saying that. This
Yes.
is actually, what everyone really wants their children to develop the habit of. But sometimes, of course, being the conventional parents that a lot of parents are, they really, go after A grade or A star or, otherwise no.
That's true, yeah.
I think it's just for the parents. It's not for the kids. Yes.
Yeah, of course, and it sort of takes a toll on your mental health as well. We'll definitely get to that. But now, finally, within a few weeks, I hope, or within a few days, schools are reopening. And from what I hear from my teacher friends as well, they have been already going to schools to set up the classes or to, make a certain curriculum. Have you guys been back to school, and what are you anticipating after so many months? Let's start with you, ma'am.
All right. Yes, that's true. And this is what we have heard till now, that the schools will open soon.
Yes.
And obviously, every school is geared up and is trying to meet the ends. From meeting the ends, I mean that students have been out of school for a long time. It's been almost 4 months.
Yes.
And same is with the teachers, and they have been working with the students online. So obviously that won't be a smooth transition.
Right.
It will take some time, but as teachers we are hopeful that just as the way we were able to beat COVID-19
Yes.
situation, in the same way we will be able to implement the curriculum in a very positive way.
Wow, and that's wonderful as well. And not just that, ladies and gentlemen, we have another guest over here in the studios, which I'm going to introduce shortly because I totally forgot about it, and it's right here. Yeah.
Okay,
I want everybody
okay,
to
what
take
is-
a look. Yes. Oh, sorry. It's right here now. All right, but now moving on. Ma'am, you know, it is very important for everybody to go get that education. But I think that at times we tend to forget that the kind of education which is actually going to instill the developmental skills or probably self-actualization or self-awareness is something which schools are drifting away. I obviously want to keep the topic about post-COVID and how schools will be. So are schools thinking about newer ideas to introduce? Because I think in these 4 months or 5 months period, we have realized that there's quite a lot which needs to be done. There's quite a lot which we have achieved even within these 5 months as well, with online classes, with learning management systems and whatnot. So are schools trying to innovate within this time? Because this, if we have utilized this period to the full capacity of our understanding, I think that we will definitely be able to serve the children in a better way.
Okay, one thing I would like to say that COVID, definitely it was a pandemic and it was very messy for so many people, and schools were in problem. But I would say that it was a blessing for some times as well,
Yep.
because when we are talking about the teacher training, there are teachers who were reluctant to use IT in their teaching strategies. So in this pandemic, they were forced to use IT in their teaching as a teaching tool.
Yeah.
So now they have learned so many new ideas about that, how they are going to incorporate IT medium in their teaching medium. So they understand that it is very important tool. So they are going to innovate their teaching strategies. They are going to be they understand that what were the students' problem while they were working with the IT field. Other than the IT, I think the teachers will be more creative, and they understand that this is not only the content learning, because teaching is beyond that content learning. There is a hidden curriculum always that teacher is trying to impart in her classroom.
Right.
Like she wants to make her children socialize. She wants to make her social, morally very well organized, and they will be organized. So in this whole period of time, teachers also learn so many new things, as well as the students also they went towards the informal type of education. That is again they will face a little bit problem when they will go for the formal
Exactly.
education.
Of course, attending
Exactly.
classes in
Yes.
their PJs is what they always wanted to, and they were doing
Absolutely.
so.
If I may add on.
Very quickly, please.
Right.
The thing is this.
All right, ma'am, I'm very sorry that I'm interjecting over here, but we actually have to rush out for a short break. But once
Right.
we come back, ladies and gentlemen, obviously we will be in conversation with Ms. Nausheen Irfan, Ms. Taira Yasmeen over here joining us post-COVID, what the schools will be doing. Let's go for a short break. Don't go anywhere, because when you guys will be back, we will still be in conversation. Let's do it.
Stay tuned.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just got tuned into PTB World, you're actually watching World this morning alongside my lovely co-host, Ms. Shiza Hashmi, and me, myself, Shahzad Khan. Today, we happen to be in conversation with two of the fabulous teachers who are actually part of the schooling system, where they even train teachers and then they kind of teach kids as well. But before going out towards a short break, Ms. Nausheen over here actually wanted to say something about the question we have posed towards her. So I think that Ms. Shiza is actually going to remind her of that.
Right. So not so much of the question, but I think we were talking about how everything went online. And of course, while students were trying to adjust to the routine by, at the expense of their own beds or sofas, a lot of teachers were being technologically challenged. And that is okay, because of course, I mean, there are some things that you're introduced to for the first time.
Yep.
So I think just yesterday I came across a tweet, and it was really sweet actually. A student posted
Tweet
that.
and sweet. Wow.
Yeah, it was really sweet. A student posted that now that everyone is going back to schools, please be extra nice and courteous to your teachers, because they have been sort of, going through and battling things more than you have been. And I think this is what Miss Yasmin over here said as well. Miss Tahira Radis, sorry, you resemble my mom so much, I call you Yasin as well.
So nice of you.
All right, so Miss Nosheen, you had a point to add to that.
Yeah, I was just saying that since it's unprecedented situation, COVID, and there has been a huge gap in teaching and learning because of that. So the thing is that the schools are rethinking
Right.
how to implement curriculum. So there is a new R which has been added in our educational R, which
Yeah.
is reading, writing, and arithmetic. Another R is rethinking. So what most of the schools have come up with is the hybrid model.
Okay.
That model works in a way in which the teacher teaches half of the class face to face,
Okay.
and the rest of the class joins online.
Okay.
So this is one way of assuring that social distancing is there, SOPs are being followed, and again the curriculum is being taught the way it should be.
Do you think it's viable though, the hybrid model?
They're still working on it.
Okay.
Very much viable, as Ma'am Tahira has just said, that since teachers are already very familiar with online teaching, so this hindrance should not be there.
Okay.
Online teaching hindrance should not be there. I remember way back when I was teaching primary grade, for me teaching online was a big no.
Okay.
I was scared of it.
Oh.
And likewise, there were many teachers who would stay away from online and computers and laptops,
Right.
and would prefer face to face. But this COVID has its benefits as well, though it is very detrimental.
Of course.
Obviously, one of them is the training of the teachers.
Yeah,
That's
it is,
right.
and I want to pick up on this point as well. The point you made previously, where you actually mentioned about curriculum as well. So we were lucky enough that we actually have somebody who happens to be a curriculum developer herself. So now the conversation needs to be that we have been speaking about curriculum for a longer period of time. Fortunately or unfortunately, there are a few things which I might not even be able to say it on television. Doesn't really matter how honest I'm going to be with my profession.
So
But
let's
yes,
not.
there are some things everybody knows about them. Why do you think that we are still not able to have a national curriculum for each and every school, so that at least everybody is going in the same direction? Now, when we talk about curriculum, first of all, we have SSC, and then the second year and first year curriculum, which for all of those theorems I studied, for all of those things I studied, I never got to see them again in my
Right.
university or my life ever again. So what's the purpose of studying that in the first place? That's the question. Number two, we have Oxford, we have Cambridge. Then number three, we have International Baccalaureate. What are we trying to do with ourselves? Are we trying to produce hybrid kids with hybrid kind of education? What are we trying? Are we confusing them? So first 6 grades, the child went to a very ordinary school. Next 4 grades, O levels, A levels. Next 4, private medical institution. So what are we trying to do with them?
Actually, there is a confusion about curriculum.
Okay.
Everybody is saying that in our school we are following Oxford curriculum or the Cambridge curriculum. That is a syllabus. They are following those particular books. They are the publishers. All the publishers are publishing their books according to the national curriculum of Pakistan in Pakistan.
All right.
If they are introducing any international book, again, they are customized it according to the curriculum of Pakistan.
Right.
So this is very much clear that whoever is following any sort of curriculum in Pakistan, if they are going for matriculation system or matriculation examination, that they are following Pakistani curriculum.
Okay.
So there is no confusion about it.
Okay.
So there is only one thing that is a difference, that Cambridge curriculum. So in Pakistan we can say that we are following 2 curriculums. One is national curriculum, and the other one is they are going for O or A levels, and the third one is IB.
Yeah.
So
We have 3 curriculums.
yes, but IB and O level curriculum, mostly people are availing those who want to go abroad and they want to go for the higher studies in other countries. But those who want to continue their study in Pakistan, they are very much glad that they will.
Exactly. And this is one thing I need to discuss with both of you, and it's because of the fact that just recently my niece actually got her A-levels result, and she alhamdulillah scored 3 A's. Well, we call it straight A's as well. I don't know whether it's a status symbol, But unfortunately, now when she's actually looking for a seat in a medical school, they say that we actually have to make an equivalency certificate,
definitely, yeah.
and that 15% of the marks will be deducted. I don't know what the percentage is, but yes, once again, it's a headache for my niece and for her parents, and it's because of the fact that they still cannot be on the merit list. Is that fine? Are we, whatever we're doing with our kids, is that fine? Is something which we'll be talking about
Right after this very short break. Stay tuned to find out more. Good morning.
Let's do this.
Welcome back to Well This Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I do realize this was sort of a longer break as well, but this was while we were sort of arranging some technicalities over here. Really hope you went and grabbed your perfect platter for your breakfast as well, because of course a healthy mind makes you have a perfect day as well, a balanced day as well. So Shahzad, before we were going out on a break, you had a very important question. Let's get to that.
All right, so getting to that, Ms. Nasheen, I'll start with you over here in Pakistan, what we've witnessed in the recent years since all my nieces and nephews are grown up now. So I've probably been through a phase where I went to school and I've seen them going to school. One way or the other, I think that it's the parents making the mistake, not understanding that if the kid is actually supposed to study within Pakistan, what's the purpose of getting them into O levels or A levels? Because towards the end, as I mentioned before going towards the break, there's this equivalency certificate, you do not make it to the merit list, eventually you actually have to be a private student and a private candidate and pay a lot of money. So can you please make sure that you today, whatever you say, you make those parents understand that if your child is not going to go abroad to study, what's the point of getting them into O and A levels and then eventually falling short of the merit list? Please go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. The thing is that the world now has become very competitive. When we were in school in that era, the competition was still there, but now it has, as you can you know already, it's a cutthroat competition.
Definitely.
So it doesn't matter whether a child is in O levels or A levels or doing metric or FA or FSC, he needs to develop his capabilities and skills. Right now the world is less bothered about what the child has learned in the class or in the school, and more about how that can be implemented in the real world.
Okay.
The implication is very much there. So I think because of that, because of this hidden curriculum, which we call teaching students new skills, teaching them etiquettes and mannerisms, teaching them how to live in a competitive world.
Yeah.
This is there in each type of curriculum.
Okay.
Coming back to your question that they should be there if they are not sending there, yes, that's true that A and O level is quite expensive for the parents. Obviously, not only the school fee, but they have to pay the fee for CIE and
registration and exams itself.
Registration, everything is there, obviously. And then, obviously, once they move on, they have to face this problem of equivalency. Even my son is facing it right now, and his grades have been brought down, obviously, for the sake of equivalency. So my suggestion would be that instead of doing that, it's better that we work towards a singular national curriculum, which I believe we are already. And through that, this problem can be resolved. And this discrimination between the systems and this status symbol can be controlled then.
Wow. I really hope so, ma'am. I mean, fingers crossed towards that as well.
Yeah.
But you know, since we're really short on time, I want to talk about some of the solutions now. So Shahzad, I think we were bound literally by the pandemic for so many months now, and especially the students. Imagine more than 300,000 schools in Pakistan were closed, not only schools, education institutions basically. And from all the students from those 300,000 education institutions, hardly 51% of them were getting their hands onto good broadband to probably attend their classes online, or probably had the gadget to attend their classes, or probably the mental capacity as well. But now we're trying to bring them all back to school, ma'am, and the teachers back to work as well. So Ms. Tahira, how can you tell me that you will make sure, or your institution or others should make sure, that SOPs will be observed in terms of, let's say, social distancing probably, or minimal social contact? When you think about public schools, like you mentioned, 80 or 40 students coming in all together, do you think we can, find a solution?
Actually, it's very difficult to follow SOPs when there are lots of number of students in one class. But government has announced that no more than 18 or 20 students should be in one classroom. So with that, we can follow SOPs. But again, it is a challenge for teachers as well, because students are not going, maybe they will not ready to follow the SOPs because they are going to meet their friends and they want to play.
They're so excited.
But again, teachers are very much they are excited to implement those SOPs. So they will teach their students that why it is very much important to keep healthy and keep safe, and keep your parents safe, keep your surroundings safe and healthy. So this is very much, I think it's a good time to teach their students.
And it's wonderful as well, but then at the same time, we still know that the class capacity is quite more than 20, or the attendees of the class are actually usually in schools 40 or 45. So, picking up on a few children that they will be coming to the classes, and then telling some that you still have to go for the online classes, and then by the end of the day, parents paying full fee for all of those kids who are actually going to school, and for all of those kids who are still taking online classes. So how is it going to happen? So Monday, there's a bunch of kids who are going to come in. Tuesday, there's going to be another bunch who's going to come in.
There's going to be a rotation, yes.
So what, are you going to teach the same thing twice in a week?
No, it won't be twice in a week. It will be in a way that the students who were there at home, they will come back to school the next day. So what I believe is that they will be coming to school after every second day.
So it's going to be
shifts.
there's
going to be
alternate days.
Alternatively they'll come.
And then we will have sports or games as well, as because kids they love to play, and they
but I think as per SOPs the co-curricular activities will be suspended.
The school's going to be boring then.
They will be boring, yes.
So what kind of plans are teachers coming up with to make sure that they keep these students' attention to themselves?
Actually, when you make your teaching innovative, when you bring some hands-on experiences for them, when you incorporate games-based learning, and you make that learning fun, I think that then they don't need physical education outside the classroom.
Ma'am, this is something which I'm going to pick up on today, and I'm very sorry. It's not on a personal level, but this is something which I've heard from almost every teacher. Hands-on experience, innovative learning. but I haven't seen it happening.
Okay,
Well, I think what he means to say is how do you actually put that
Yeah.
in practice?
Yes, that is, I'm going to tell you that I'm a maths teacher. For example, I'm going to teach my students quadratic formula.
All right.
So students don't know that how to incorporate that in the real world and how they.
Right.
It's a fun example. So what I did and what I am doing in my school right now, that I'm going to teach them with Angry Bird game.
All right.
So there is
interesting.
there will be a project in that quadratic formula in which they will make some quadratic equations, and they will hit that that particular target with that Angry Bird. So in this way they will learn that how games, how their real world things are incorporated in mathematics. And
Now
why
I
they-
so want to go back to school.
Right. I mean,
Want to
this is
play the
very
games,
interesting,
man. And
ma'am. Also-
understand, because I totally at times I feel that whatever I studied or learned through
You forgot?
schooling days, I think I've forgotten
That's
that.
true.
But if it was in a game manner or it was hands-on experience or innovative learning, I think I would have done it much better.
Right, and ma'am, since you mentioned you are the maths teacher, I have to vent over here, ladies and gentlemen. So you know what? I mean, of course, not everyone is equal in terms of understanding fast, right? So when I was in APS, I mean, we were totally traveling all around the country as well. So in my maths class, when we were supposed to do the exercises, I could focus better when I had my earphones on while listening to
With
music.
music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I was in APS, there was no such concept of bringing a gadget or even an iPod to school, and it would be confiscated, and I wasn't able to sort of concentrate that well, and I had that inferiority complex that okay, my friends are learning so fast, why am I so slow? Do you think teachers should be flexible enough to actually entertain these requests, I want to say, or at least acknowledge that not every student is the same?
Or probably we can eat in the class, do something of our choice while
I mean,
studying.
We had to ask, ma'am, may I please drink water? Should we be doing that?
Actually, that is something else that they are asking permission, because it's about the
Decorum.
respect of the teacher and the decorum
Okay.
of the class. So one thing I would like to say that now we are moving towards the curriculum, in which that curriculum we are using game-based or the fun and the project-based learning. Like maths is no more like the boring game. In the curriculum I'm developing, in that curriculum we are using card games, dice games, and we are incorporating Ludo, Snake and Ladder. All these games they are incorporating inside the class, and they are linked with the curriculum strands.
Nice.
So in this way students will think that they are playing, but actually they are
They're
learning.
learning.
their
Exactly.
objective.
And thank you very much for saying it on television, because if your students have watched this, they will actually know that teachers are actually trying to teach us, we're not playing.
Exactly.
But one last thing from Ms. Nausheen before we wrap up with that is, ma'am, that we've actually kind of covered the perspective of a kid and the perspective of the parents and the curriculum itself. But what about teachers? How do they feel going back to the school now? Very quickly.
Yeah, as a spiritual mothers and fathers and parents, they should be happy. But as human beings, as you know, they were living in their comfort zone, they
Right.
were living at their homes.
Yeah.
So coming back to school and with multifold responsibilities will be a bit challenging for them. Obviously, they are the one who will look after all the SOPs. They will ensure the mental and physical health of their students, and they have to ensure that the learning is genuine learning is taking
Right.
place.
Exactly.
So, but hands up for our teachers.
Of course.
Thumbs up for them. They have fought before as well, and they will do it again, inshallah.
Wow, wonderful that was. Thank you very much, teachers, for being with us today.
Thank
It
you,
was lovely to be in conversation with you and to learn about what curriculum is and the impact of it. But then, ladies and gentlemen, for all of those kids who are going back to school, hey, best of luck to each and every one of you. And for all of those parents who are out there, please make sure that you do not bug the teachers quite a lot about the SOPs. Make sure that you give your kid whatever is required to follow all of those SOPs.
Right, absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. The step forward is basically, hands in hand, going forward together as well.
Yep.
This is not just the teacher's job, as Shahzad already mentioned. So please stay woke in terms of what your individual responsibility is, and do not spread the virus any more than it should be happening right now,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. Best of luck to everyone going back to their office spaces and educational institutions and whatnot. If you have any feedback, any questions, anything, write to us on our Facebook page with the name of,
World This Morning.
on Twitter,
World This Morning without a G.
on YouTube,
PTB World and World This Morning.
and the repeat of this one you can catch
5
at
past midnight. Today happens to be Friday. Please remember us all, our entire team, in your prayers.
Jummah
Look after
Mubarak.
yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning.